Hello everyone, it's Kevin, and when I started this Atari series, I expected simple games. You know, move left, move right, press one button, and chase a high score. And to be fair, there are plenty of games like that. But then I started finding games that make me stop and think, wait, is this running on an Atari 2600? Some of these games have maps, some have inventories, some have multiple objectives, and some even need extra hardware just to play properly. These are the kind of games that feel like they belong on something much newer. So today, let's look at 10 Atari 2600 games that seem too advanced for the system that they were released on. Battlezone almost doesn't even look like an Atari game. It's played from the first-person perspective. You're driving a tank around the battlefield and enemies start to appear in the distance. You have to judge positioning before taking your shot. Sure, it's nowhere near the arcade version, but a key tip that I'm going to share is that you need to keep on moving. Not just to avoid enemy fire, but also for positioning with your own shots. This game is supposed to take place in 1999. Thank God it didn't play out like this. Robot Tank caught me completely off guard. It's really a cool concept. I find that it plays like an easier, smoother, and more fast-paced version of Battlezone. At first, it looks like just another shooter, and then you realize there's weather. There's a day and night cycle, which causes your visibility to change as you encounter different enemies that move and attack in different patterns. It's amazing how much atmosphere they squeeze into this little cartridge. It's still simple by today's standards, but compared to most Atari games, this thing feels incredibly ambitious. Perhaps I'll join the Tank Corps one day. Star Voyager feels less like an arcade game and more like a space mission. Instead of simply surviving as long as possible, you're actually trying to travel through space. You have to manage your resources, track enemies, and complete objectives. It's surprisingly involved. It's also very fun and addictive at the same time. It kind of reminds me of Robot Tank, but in space. I have to say that the effect while going into another level is trippy though. If Star Voyager was ambitious, Star Master somehow goes even further. You're protecting sectors of space and jumping between systems. You have to watch your fuel and keep your shields alive. There's an actual strategy that's required here. You're constantly making decisions instead of simply reacting. It's not a game where you instantly understand it, but once things start clicking, you realize just how far ahead of time it really was. Maybe you could even become a Supreme Star Master someday. Now here's one I have to be completely honest about. I don't really get this game yet. I know what it's trying to do. It's simulating launching and landing a space shuttle, which is incredibly ambitious, especially for the time. But after spending time with it, I realized I wasn't doing the game justice. Instead of pretending I had everything figured out, I'm going to come back to this one after I've read the manual, which is more like a book by the way, and learned it properly. Because I have a feeling that there's a really impressive game hiding underneath all of my confusion. Haunted House was a very similar experience. In this one you have to explore, collect items, and unlock doors. And you're also doing this in complete darkness. There's clearly a lot going on here, probably more than I realized during my first attempts, so this is another game I'm going to have to spend some more time with off camera. Because even though I don't fully understand everything yet, I could tell that there was something that they were trying to do that was far bigger than your average Atari game. The story is super in-depth, and that's why I want to succeed in this game and go even further. Yay, another game with a storyline. I love it. Gravitar and I didn't exactly become friends. The controls take practice, a lot of practice. Landing takes practice, and apparently I need a lot of practice on that one. I don't think I have successfully landed once in this game. So while my gameplay probably isn't winning any awards, I can absolutely appreciate what the developers were trying to accomplish. There's up-to-date gravity physics, different planets, exploration. It's all incredibly impressive. Even if it spent most of my playtime reminding me that I wasn't very good at it. This one kind of feels unfair to include on this list. Not because it's bad, not because it's unplayable, Actually, it's because I couldn't play it properly. Star Raiders was designed to use the Atari video touchpad, which, honestly, I don't own. Without it, you're missing a huge part of the intended experience. Even so, you could tell that this game was aiming for something much bigger than a simple arcade shooter. It's one of those games that make you realize Atari developers were experimenting long before most people give them credit for. This one also has a very cool manual, and it has a storyline in it, so definitely check it out. In this one, we play as Roderick h.e.r.o. Yeah, that's our hero. This one has a storyline as well. But putting all that aside, h.e.r.o is honestly becoming one of my favorite Atari games. In this one, you fly with a backpack, you rescue trapped miners, use lasers, explore huge levels, and somehow, it all really controls well. Even though I bombed myself a lot and fell into traps, I still loved my time with it. Forget NES hard. This game is Atari hard. If someone released this today as an indie retro game, I honestly think people would still enjoy it, and that's probably the biggest compliment that I could give it. I just need to get good enough to join the Order of h.e.r.o, whatever that stands for. And then there's Solaris. This game blew my mind, because there's just so much to it. You definitely need to read the manual for this one. In this game, you're navigating a galaxy map, flying between planets, rescuing colonies, and fighting enemies, all while managing everything that's happening around you. It's hard to believe that this is running on the same console that also gave us games where you're just basically moving from square to square around the screen. If someone had showed me Solaris without telling me what system it was on, I don't think Atari 2600 would have been my first guess. Coming into this series, I thought that the 2600 was all about quick arcade games, but the deeper I dig, the more I find that developers are trying things that honestly shouldn't have been possible on this hardware. Did I master all of these? Definitely not. Some completely confused me, and some completely destroyed me. And a few still have me reading manuals after the fact. But that's a big part of what makes this series fun. I'm discovering these games the same way many of you did decades ago, one cartridge at a time. If there are any other Atari games that made you think, how did they pull this off? Please let me know in the comments. Who knows, it might end up in the next compilation. And hopefully this series continues to stick the landing, unlike my Gravitar landings. And that's a wrap. It is time to reboot. I will see you on the other side.